Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing, topping our newscast after pockets of power outages on St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John were also plunged in darkness for the second time within a month. Many residents across the district suffered a blackout that lasted a few hours. The Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority managed to rectify the problem. The authority has also updates on the restoration efforts on St. Croix. News 2's April Knight has a wrap-up.
The Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority can't seem to catch a break. They've had their hands full in the last few days doing repairs on St. Croix after a string of power outages. Then early Thursday morning, all of St. Thomas and St. John also lost power. The blackout began around 1 in the morning. Power came back for some residents about 4 hours later and 5 hours for others. According to WAPA, the Randolph-Harley power plant on St. Thomas lost 2 generating units, causing the power outage. Repair crews immediately attempted to get the generating units back up.
Plant personnel had to spend considerable time ensuring that the root cause of the units tripping had been identified. 3 smaller generating units, 14, 18, and 25, were brought online, and the restoration of service was begun to the feeders at about 4:40 this morning.
Not even a month ago, St. Thomas and St. John also went through a major power outage that lasted 7 hours. The reasons then were faulty machinery combined with human error. This time,
Loss of communication between key systems and WAPA's generating unit number 23, our largest generator, was responsible for that unit tripping offline. It was also responsible for the loss of unit 25 and subsequently the failure of all of the electrical feeders in the district.
Meanwhile, on St. Croix, restoration efforts have been fully completed according to WAPA.
There was a momentary electrical service interruption on 1A this morning for about 10 or 15 minutes. It affected about 12 customers, but we adjusted the voltage going to those customers and everything was normalized.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
And according to WAPA spokesperson John Griot, who you just heard from, WAPA got the generating units back up around 4 a.m. On St. Croix, things have gotten back to normal after the morning glitch, according to WAPA. Wallowa Hospital CEO Ken Okolo is in the hot seat. During their board meeting Thursday afternoon, the St. Croix Hospital District Governing Board is set to take action on the pending ratification of Okolo's contract. This was complicated by recent discovery that the school in New Mexico, where Okolo earned his doctorate, was not accredited. Contrary to speculation going around the hospital, Okolo has not yet been terminated. We will keep you updated on the status of the CEO's contract. It's the end of more than a decade of management for Randall Doc James Racetrack on St. Croix. By the end of this week, Traxco, which has managed the racetrack for about 12 years now, agreed to vacate the premises after the VI Attorney General took them to court. News 2's April Knight has details.
Traxco has until Friday to clear out of the Randall Doc James Racetrack on St. Croix. That's after Attorney General Claude Walker put his foot down and took the company to court this week.
The lease has terminated. They no longer have a lease.
In a letter to Casino Control Commissions and Golden, Traxco agreed. The Traxco lease on the racetrack had ended in 2014, and since then, the company has been going on a month-to-month contract.
It goes month to month until the landlord says, okay, well, I'm not renewing.
Problems arose with the Horsemen Association on St. Croix involving the absence of live races and badly needed repairs at the tracks, all while Traxco is operating other gaming activities. According to Walker, in January, his office gave Traxco notice that without the approval of the governor and the legislature, the lease will not be renewed.
When it's month to month, you just have to give a month's notice. And then the tenant has to vacate. In this case, we were being reasonable. We said we'll give you 90 days.
They had until the end of April, but they didn't. And finally, on Monday, Walker informed Traxco they have until Friday of this week.
So they have informed the Casino Commission that they will remove their equipment and will leave the premises no later than Friday, May 6th.
It's unclear whether another company will take over live racing at the tracks or when.
While the company agreed to move out, Traxco officials believe that the claims for termination of the contract were invalid, as well as the threat of criminal sanctions. In other news, Governor Kenneth Mapp is disappointed with the Carnival Committee, not just because his friend King Derby didn't get to perform during the Calypso competition. The governor also criticized the lack of reporting mechanism for more than $730,000 that the VI government gave to the committee for carnival expenses. Here's more from that conference.
I think everyone recognizes that we do not see, we still have this issue about getting financial reporting on how the government money is being spent when it is contributed to Carnival. And so we're going to have to revisit that and see how we can ensure that we get really adequate reporting on the spend of that money, because, you know, just Carnival, while we support it, cannot be an entity of its own, and we're not having any accountability on the amount of monies, where the monies are spent for the taxpayers.
The Committee on Culture, Historic Preservation, Youth and Recreation, chaired by Senator Myron D. Jackson, met at the Fritz Loett's Legislative Conference Room on St. Croix to discuss and consider Bill number 31-0355, a resolution honoring and commending John W. Tranberg Sr. on the celebration of his centennial anniversary, and Bill number 31-0346, an act amending Title I Virgin Islands Code commemorating the week of July 1st to July 7th as Freedom Week, and amending Title 24, Chapter 1, Section 4 to require employers to pay time and a half for work done on July 3rd. The committee also received an update on the official Virgin Islands delegation to Cuba for the 2016 Festival des Caribes. The Kardashians are vacationing in Cuba. The country, as we reported, was recently opened up to U.S. trade and tourism. Like many families, Kim, Khloe, Kourtney, Kanye West, they are taking advantage of the opportunity to visit the country. But the Kardashians' apparent lack of knowledge or disregard for the country's fraught political and social history is, like everything about them, in full display on Instagram. Khloe Kardashian posted several photos documenting her visit in the country. In one of the pictures, the reality star is standing under the name Fidel on a wall. Fidel Castro reigned Cuba from the 1959 Communist Revolution to 2008, when he resigned and his brother Raul stepped in. Under his dictatorship, economic impoverishment and political oppression and human rights abuses have ravaged the country. Within seconds of the picture hitting social media, an influx of angry comments were posted questioning the reality star's choice to align herself with the dictator through the photo. A slew of followers called the 31-year-old ignorant and insensitive. Keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers there, we can see the Dow is up 9, NASDAQ and S&P down. Coming up on News 2, massive voluntary recalls were issued this week for a slew of products that contain sunflower seeds, which may have been contaminated with listeria, but that's not all. Massive voluntary recalls were issued this week for a slew of products that contain sunflower seeds, which may have been contaminated with listeria. The bacteria can cause listeriosis, a life-threatening illness. On Tuesday, Treehouse Foods recalled almost 100 products. Kroger Company issued a recall on Wednesday for Kroger sunflower salad toppers, Kroger sunflower kernels, and Kroger cranberry delight trail mix. Kroger said the products were distributed to 28 states. No illnesses have been reported. The sunflower seed recall comes 2 days after CRF Frozen Foods expanded a voluntary recall of hundreds of that company's frozen fruits and vegetables. Listeriosis can cause fever and muscle aches, sometimes preceded by diarrhea or other gastrointestinal symptoms. More than 350 products like green beans, broccoli, peas, and blueberries sold under 42 brands at grocers including Safeway, Costco, and Trader Joe's in the U.S. and Canada have now been recalled. So far, the CDC knows of 8 people who have been sickened, 6 in California and 1 each in Washington and Maryland. The Washington and Maryland patients died, but listeria was not considered the ultimate cause of death. The patients were between 56 and 86 years of age. Nurses Week recognition commences May 6 through May 12, and the theme this year is Culture of Safety. It starts with you. Senator Kenneth Gittens on Wednesday said as the nation pays tribute to doctors, nurses, and other hospital and medical staff during the celebrations, he is extending best wishes and gratitude and encourages the community as well.
Our doctors, nurses, and other hospital and medical staff are vital components in our community. We count on them to maintain their professionalism and expertise in times of crisis, to make a difference during difficult times when we are not at our strongest. The caliber of care we receive and the overall health of our community depends on the level of care that they put into their work and the compassion that they show our residents as patients. On a daily basis, our hospitals continue to struggle to meet financial obligations and many times have to juggle monthly bills with providing medicines and services. We are on our way back to a sense of stability in our healthcare facilities and will see better days. As we celebrate Nurses and Hospitals Week over the next few days, let us show our support and gratitude to those who take care of our community's health.
Older American Senior Citizens Month is being celebrated by the Department of Human Services. This weekend begins with a parade on both islands. On St. Thomas, it takes place on Friday, May 6th at 10 a.m. It will start at the Lionel Roberts Stadium and ends at Emancipation Garden. On Saturday, May 7th, the parade on St. Croix will also begin at 10 a.m. at the Market Square, Times Square, onto Fort Christian Verne. There will be a number of entries to include the St. Croix Majorettes, floats, schools, including Central High School Marching Band, Pearl B. Lawson School, and the Ebenezer Steel Orchestra, Head Start Children, and that's just to name a few. Senator Armando Rocky Liebert is also honoring the many educators of the Virgin Islands as proclaimed by President Obama's National Teachers Week. Teachers of the VI, he says, have struggled to contract their pay increases and have recently staged protests to shed light on the many hardships of educating the VI youth. Had it not been for teachers, we wouldn't be here, he said during Wednesday's Health, Hospital, and Planning meeting. With all of the discussion about teachers, I believe this body has a number of former teachers and we need to come together to mediate some of these issues that are going on. Senator Liebert himself is a former territorial educator. Well, UVI commencement ceremonies, they're set for May 12th to the 13th, St. Thomas and St. Croix, respectively. The 52nd annual commencement will award nearly 300 degrees. The class speaker on the St. Thomas campus will be Patrice Harris. The class speaker on the Albert A. Sheen campus will be Akeem O. McIntosh. Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Sir Hilary Beckles, distinguished scholar, international historian, transformation leader, and Caribbean intellectual, will be UVI's 2016 commencement keynote speaker. The Community and Police Association and the Smith Bay Neighborhood Association on St. Thomas called for a territory-wide 2-week ceasefire to stem the tide of violence earlier this week. Bruce Flamone, the former president and founder of CAPA, said that in the last 21 weeks, dating back to December 7th, the territory has seen 22 murders. They say a ceasefire would give the community time to design an action plan. Eugene D. Farrell, a senior policy advisor for justice and law enforcement in the Office of the Governor, stressed the importance of meeting gang members who are perpetuating violence on their turfs. Samuel Weeks, pastor of the Paradise Covenant Ministry Church, he said he's willing to meet with gang leaders. During the ceasefire, CAPA will lead an amnesty program to take back illegal guns and other weapons with no questions asked. Those interested can learn more about the program. You can call 340-513-4041. CAPA reps say the idea for the ceasefire came from members watching the movie Barbershop 2, which uses a similar tactic, and they are encouraging all families to go out and see the film. Speaking of barbershops, local neighborhood businesses provide goods and services to their community. The Brooklyn VI Barbershop and Boutique in Frederickstead, they're also providing something extra, free haircuts. Once a month, they give free haircuts to local organizations. Earlier this week, they provided cuts to seniors and members of Project Link. For the staff at Brooklyn VI Barbershop, they say it's about giving back to the community.
So once a month, we're going to select a different facility. We're going to reach out. We're going to have time for the adolescents, time for, mother and daughters. If they have cuts, we do have a lot of female clients. Father and son days. We have promotions for the taxi drivers because they come often as well. So we're going to constantly just, keep in touch with our social sites. We're going to have a lot going on.
Nice touch. Congrats to the barbers. She is flying high. A 2004 Central High School graduate and St. Croix native is serving in the U.S. Navy aboard the Naval Air Station Jacksonville, the largest base in the Southeast region and third largest in the nation. Petty Officer 2nd Class Ioana Harris is an Aviation Maintenance Administration man serving with Commander, Patrol and Reconnaissance Wing 11. Harris is responsible for maintaining command databases and administration flight logs. According to Navy officials, Wing 11's history and reputation remain unparalleled since being commissioned on August 15, 1942. Throughout the decades, Wing 11 has continued to fly combat missions in direct support of the troops on the ground and delivered traditional maritime capabilities and surveillance. Congratulations to Harris. Carnival and cultural activities continued for students, parents, supporters, and staff of the Wesley Methodist Interfaith Education Consortium. More than 250 attendees gathered at the Lutheran Church of the Reformation's Community Learning Center site for the second annual Cultural Extravaganza that was held on Wednesday. That event provides an opportunity for the consortium 3 after-school program partners to come together for cultural exchange of information, arts and crafts, and local dishes. In addition to LCR-CLC, the other consortium partners are Christchurch Methodist Education and Outreach Services, CMEOs, and Wesley Methodist Church After-School Program Services. The lead partner, the consortium, is primarily funded by a 21st Century Community Learning Center grant, which is administered by the VI Department of Education. Each site provided a cultural presentation, and additional entertainment was provided by Alan Peterson, Mukajumbi Extraordinaire, and the BCB Flambo Combo. Speaking of Carnival, St. Thomas Carnival is officially over, but it's, of course, it's an annual celebration of the island's rich history and culture, festive season of music, vibrant colors, fun costumes, and no shortage of local delicacies. The Virgin Islands Lottery said nothing was more fabulous than Carnival in St. Thomas, and they are hoping you are the holder of the fabulous winning numbers. Here's more.
The VI Lottery presents draw results of today's drawing on News 2. Here are the top prizes. Fifth prize for $20,000, 19209. 19209. Fourth prize for $30,000, 33812. 33812. Third prize for $40,000, 30693. 30693. Second prize for $65,000, 19761. 19761. And the grand prize winning ticket number for $175,000 is 5943. 5943. If your ticket wasn't called, keep trying. One of these days, your number could win. The next drawing is May 19th. Play the VI Lottery and imagine the possibilities.
And good luck as you check those tickets. Now, many are enjoying May 5th. Cinco de Mayo is a holiday celebrating Mexican heritage. It commemorates the Mexican victory over the French at the Battle of Puebla on May 5th, 1862. Many around the world celebrate with margaritas, tequila, mariachi music, and Mexican cuisine. Here in the VI, no different. Most of your favorite bars and night spots are celebrating with specials, including Rotary East 13th Annual Cinco de Mayo Chihuahua Races at Yacht Haven Grand. The event began at 1 p.m., but the races started at 6:30, so you may be able to head out there and still enjoy some of the fun. This year, they're featuring a rest area for the pups away from the action, so they'll have a chance to rest and recharge between their races. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.